Alright, DBDLeague fans, welcome to the Rotten Fields for the first match of Kolobki versus Shock, and we have iPiC on the killer for Kolobki playing the Executioner, and he is already searching for his first survivor over by this Harvester and TL combo. Very interesting RNG here on this top side of the map, and he is already going to spot somebody over behind this TL wall. How is this first chase going to go, Cole?
I don't know. Jake's not in that great a position. He's going to take a tag before he can get to a pallet. It looks like there's not a whole lot around here. You've got a pretty bad filler pallet he's running past. He's going to make it straight to Shack. I don't think he's able to make that outside of the Executioner's shock attack range. He will make this pallet, but he can't drop it safely. Who wins the mind game? So Jake's just going to go down on the pallet. We see a survivor nearby. He's going to have to chase the teammate away to go for this pull because Seth is not tormented, so he can't just cage him. And the hook is going to come through here. I'd like to point out we are also seeing Rancor on iPiC, which we see this sometimes as a way of securing a pretty guaranteed endgame kill. Now, unfortunately for him, the first hook is on the Obsession, so having that endgame kill would be worth a little bit less, but it's also pretty underrated as a tracking perk. This is a map where you can struggle to find survivors through the corn, and every time they pop a gen, oh, you just get to see where all the other survivors are.
Yep, he's going to find another survivor here at the cow tree, but is going to venture back towards the hook instead. And notably, I think some people might say that was a bad chase from Seth, but I disagree. If we saw the where he was running, he had almost zero good resources to work with. Went from a terrible filler pallet to a hill to a pallet gem. Not a single jungle gem to be seen in Seth's chase. So going down on that pallet there and threatening the save was probably his only option. And now we see iPiC. He's probably just going to secure second here on Seth because it was just a very early down.
Yeah, with the first chase being that short, he knows he can afford to do this. There's not enough gen pressure. And yeah, this map can be really rough to play sometimes. It can be very barren. And especially when you're running in the cornfield, you have almost nothing to work with. So you're almost being forced to take your chases around the outskirts of the map if you're not able to make Shack. And we're going to see this gen has high progress, but it's going to be interrupted. We don't know if the survivor has just pre-left the area, but now iPiC is just going to be going in between this gen and the hook survivor. So now the unhook comes in, the FTP comes in, so the tunnel out can still come in on Seth. We see Felix running off in the distance, so we know that Jake is still around here somewhere, and Chase is going to begin onto him again, and he's going to make this filler pallet, but you definitely don't want to be playing this. So the question is, can he make it to Shack? Because he does not want to run to that cow tree. Well, he can now with the gen pop, but tag coming in onto Jake. I'm expecting he'll just pre-drop Shack pallet to try and get some distance as two gens pop in the distance.
Yeah, Shack pallet pre-dropped, and this chase is going to be extremely important. Something needs to prevent Seth from going down quickly here, or this match is going to be looking really bad for Shock. iPiC on the hunt, looking for the power shot through the tile, and no, Seth makes it to the pallet and stuns him out of his power. Nice play from Seth. He gets tormented, tracking on him there, but he's going to run back towards the bottom side of the map with a new lease on life.
Seth just phasing through the Executioner right there to secure the pallet stun. Unfortunately for him, he's got nowhere to run here. He's probably just picking a nice cozy spot to die in, but as this kill is going to come in onto Seth, and crucially because of that FTP play earlier, now the Obsession has changed as the chop comes in, so if the last gen pops, we will see Felix being able to be Rancored, and they're going to know he has to be extremely careful.
This is an amazing spot for iPiC. The fourth gen is almost done, but he's got a kill secured, he got the chop, and now he's, I think, just going to be playing for fresh hooks and looking for that Rancor kill in the end game. Nice shockwave there through the tile. Oh, and we got the headless pyramid head, and the double hit with the shockwave. Clean power usage from iPiC there. Gets the down onto GenBlight, and that's going to be another fresh hook, possibly a pain res.
Yeah, and so even though this gen progress is very high, the pain res might interrupt one of them briefly, but you know, going into this endgame, we do have two full endgame perks. We have a survivor killed. There does not appear to be that many good resources left. We have those two jungle gems we saw. All the good pallets should be down, and the survivors are going to have to contend with No Way Out. They're going to have to contend with Rancor, and the fact that iPiC is going to know exactly where all of them are as this pre-drop comes in. Adam dodging the hit, but he really doesn't have much to go here. He's got a bad filler, and he has a harvester, but he's gonna take a tag if he doesn't get a stun here. but that's going to involve getting a Torment. So this is really unfortunate for Adam. He does at least get this stun from the side that he wants to be on, the inside side of the map, so he will be able to try and get to something as the chase continues.
And the only thing he's going to be getting to here is Shack Window. Luckily, he has Lithe, which will allow him to make it to this long wall jungle gym over on the side portion of the map. So he's going to have to dodge another Shockwave here. Interesting pathing here from Adam. But it looks like iPiC is going to sniff it out, but he misses the swing on the window, blinds him through the window. Great chase from Adam here as he gets the blind, continues to run this tile.
Yeah, unfortunately for
Shockwave possibly coming out here, and he misses it. Another good dodge from Adam. Great pathing him from here. Great pathing from Kuba here.
Unfortunately for him, the pallet being dropped kind of means, you know, you're going to be animation locked if you want to play that pallet. If the pallet's still up, you've got a little bit more to work with, but Adam just doing his absolute best. It delays just long. He will make it to the TL wall, and that, because the other gens that are progress are on the opposite side of the map from this, he should be able to get, they should be able to get all the last gens popped for this. As the down goes on to Adam. And now, here's the thing. If he gets hooked here, he is at least by one gate as the last gen pops, but caging him means they will probably get a free save. So we are going to see the hook coming in. We're going to see where the
will it come in before the no way out? It will. So that's the third stack of no way out for iPiC, crucially.
Yeah. And now Felix has to be hiding.
Yep, and I'd love to see where Felix is here, and he's going to be over by Cow Tree, crouching. He might honestly be the one to get this save, if I'm assuming Ace is going to be showing himself.
Yeah, there's the predicament for the survivors. You've got two people healthy and moving around. You need to get a gate ready, although they are still waiting on, you know, no way out to wear off, and you need to save your teammate. So which of these choices do you think is riskier? Because whichever one Felix goes to has to be the safer play. Looks like
no way out. No way out is still up, and it seems like iPiC is just content to kind of proxy this hook. And let's see, if Adam dies on the hook, that's going to be 2 more stages in iPiC's favor. But honestly, I would be looking for Felix right now.
I feel like they've accepted that Kuba's going to die on hook, because so if iPiC stays around this hook, there's not a lot of resources to work with. So if iPiC is just sitting in front of that hook, they can't really save in the middle of the cornfield with Executioner being able to AoE them with his ranged attack. So now it's going to be a matter of, is Felix going to be able to cross over to the gate, or are they going to try to make a hatch play for him? Because I think they're not going to try to save Kuba here.
Yeah, it seems like GenBlight is trying to distract iPiC enough so that Felix can sneak in towards the gate, and it looks like it's going to be working here. Yep. Smoker is going to make it to the gate. That's going to be 2 survivors escaping here for Shock.
Yeah, so 2K7 looks like is not a bad result. Definitely a pretty middling. We should be able to see if the next team survivors are going to be able to outdo this.
Yeah, I think with the kill that he got that early onto Seth, I think that certainly could have been better, but the survivors ended up bringing it back. So don't go anywhere, guys. We're going to go to a short break while we set up the other side of the Executioner set.
Welcome back to Chopped Dead by Daylight Edition, featuring Kuba on the Executioner, looking to get some payback for being left on hook in that last game. As we're going to start our second game of this first set, looking for survivors, and he's looking to do better than a 2K7 3 freshes. So if he gets 8 hooks, or if he gets 7 hooks with 4 fresh hooks, that will be the win condition that Kuba needs to win this set for his team. Is not quite able to find a survivor as quickly as we had in the last game, so we'll see when this first chase will start.
Yeah, Cole, and I'm not surprised at all that Kuba is the Executioner player on the other side, given his blazing chase last match against iPiC. You could just tell that he knows how to play and play against the Executioner. But yeah, you're right, he is having a little bit of trouble finding his first chase.
Survivors are doing a good job of stealthing, and one of the things that we saw in the last game was the reason that first chase came in so quickly was because there was this hill in the middle of those bottom generators where the survivors spawned, so iPiC was able to just climb on top of the hill, see some crows fly off and start his chase, and Kuba not being able to get that same vantage point, as the survivors are doing a good job of hiding behind things. And I promise Claudette is not BMing, when you do movements like this, it delays AFK crows from getting on top of you. So she's just trying to be able to stay in one spot without, getting spotted. As the survivors so far are doing a good job of essentially stealthing out all of the corrupt intervention, and with this map being as big as it is, if Kuba's not able to get a first chase before, it looks like he will. No! Renato nerves the steal.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Miyu there.
Did he not know?
He started making scratch marks. He had to see him there, surely.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, he is still going to eventually run into the M1, but man, that could have been a lot worse.
Renato does get his lithe off, so we are going to see Renato getting some good distance here, as now the survivors have the go-ahead to start on those gens elsewhere, as Renato's going to have a hard time playing around this loop, and that's going to be a down.
Yeah, and Kuba there, he predicts the flare out on the power at the loop, and honestly, that's a really nice shockwave from him. Notably, he has agitation instead of the Rancor from last match, otherwise the builds are all the same. And are we going to get a pain resonance before that first gen pops? It looks like we are.
I mean, given how hard the survivors were stealthing, I'd be surprised if they had that much gen progress in the first place, but I suppose you could say, well, now we've eliminated all of gen progress they might possibly have, and it's entirely possible that Kuba will commit to camp here. As the fast unhook comes in, I guess Kuba's going to go for the second down here, as the fresh hooks being part of his win condition is definitely one way you can tackle this game.
Yeah, it looks like Kuba is confident in his chase ability here and is going to not actually camp Miyu at all. Now taking a chase onto this ace, Crystal, at the TNL wall, and we'll see how quickly this down will come in, or if it will at all.
Depending on the pathing, the ace does have that cow tree back at the 7, 8 o'clock position to play. In the previous game, we had a harvester there, so this setup is a little bit stronger as Kuba gets a little bit lost in the sauce and swings after the ace has left the tile, and this should be a chance to drop the Shack pallet, but the zoning of the Pyramid Head coming in, he whiffs the shot, doesn't get the Torment, and the pallet stun comes in, so ace is looking pretty as now he can basically choose wherever he wants to go as his gens are being progressed for free, and Ace has still this relatively decent filler palette. He's got this cow tree, and he's got, I believe, a seawall behind him, so Ace is in a really good spot, and this chase commit could really come back to bite Kuba.
That's 4 missed shockwaves in a row, and at this point, I would be dropping this ace. Crystal is absolutely serving the juice here. No hit at the TL wall, wins the mind game on the Shack pallet, wins the mind game at the cow tree, and you have to leave this chase. Like, this is taking way too long, and Crystal is still fully healthy.
And he does break the chase, and there's still maybe 1 or 2 good pallets left on this map, so it's not like you're going to be able to get a much quicker down. Like, Renato has the short wall jungle gem here still, and I believe there was another decent tile on the bottom side of the map, so if Renato can somehow get away from this short wall tile and make it to that other tile, this could take a while, but this should be the down on Renato again. A little unlucky. Renato's report killer for
the people coming in from Claudette with We're Gonna Live Forever, and that's Endurance coming off the ground. Dollar Store FTP Buckle Up comes in from the Claudette. Really nice play there from Merrick. Good communication.
Yeah, and that also tells us the Claudette, I believe, is the one who had the unhook earlier. So they were definitely getting that set up with that pole. But
yeah,
now Claudette's going to punish for this.
Going for a risky power shot at a terrible filler palette like that, I think these survivors are in the killer's head as the flashlight save comes in as well. Insult to injury for Kuba.
Flashlight, flashback. This is the second time we've seen a Pyramid Head dealing with that beamer save out of nowhere. And the fact that even if the hook did come in onto Claudette there, as long as they delay, the hook on Renato, because Renato's the person who was already hooked before. So if Claudette is the one that's getting hooked now, or literally anyone other than Renato, the first death will be delayed by so much, as now the chase onto Ace, but, you still have to get that second house lead off of Ace, and the hook and all of this, and the gens you can hear multiple gens being progressed and popping in the distance. This is a very dire situation for Kuba to be in, as, remember, he still has to get 6 more hooks at a minimum, as now the down coming onto Ace, but, he needs a pain res ASAP.
Yeah, Kuba needs pressure, and he needs it right now. Calling out that head-on from Crystal was a really good play. With agitation, he might be able to get this pain res before the next generator pops, and that will be pretty good for setting him back into this game to try to get to the win condition. So yeah, another pain resonance there. Fresh hook for no way out. And Kuba is now going to hopefully be looking for this Claudette. He's going to want another quick chase.
He does have a pretty decent cluster of gens around Shack. There are not that many good pallets left. There is, I believe, a short wall here right behind him, but other than that, there's not a whole lot of resources survivors have to work with. They did use a lot of those resources earlier, delaying those chases for that gen pressure, and at least the resets are coming in for them. The unhook's going to come in, so we're not seeing all this much pressure on the survivors. And Kuba's going to have to try and get a fast down to keep this pressure snowballing, because his endgame is not as scary as it could be. He has the no way out, but he doesn't have any tools to guarantee, like, he doesn't have a Noah, he doesn't have a Rancor, so he has to play these chases out normally even when the endgame comes.
Yeah, zones the Claudette off of the TL wall with his power, and I mean, she's running to an area where there's really not much. She does have balanced landing and is going to go up on the Harvester.
Yeah, Claudette playing off her exhaustion perk. Very good.
Kuba is going to call that out and catch up pretty quickly before she can actually make anything else. She is going to go down, and that is going to be a third pain res and third stack of no way out here for Kuba. So, still doing okay, but that mid game really hurt, and he's actually going to go past the other pain res hook. And is this also going to be pain res? It should be. Yep, there's the third stack of no way out.
It's possible. Sorry, that he wanted to just get her closer to these other gens here, but actually, it looks like she's pretty far away from the other gens, unless he was worried about that cow tree gen. Okay, so he has the cow tree gen, he has the one he just walked past, and he has the one he's going to, so Claudette is kind of tucked away behind this last three clusters of gens, so it's going to be difficult for them to try and... They get the pull off, but this shockwave is just not fast enough.
No,
if he
that's
had
just
set it up earlier,
much too late.
He could have tagged the Nia too, so we see the idea of what he was going for, but he just was caught a little bit unawares, and so the save comes off for free, but Claudette is going to go down, and at this level of play, he does have to worry about the Claudette having DS. It is allowed against XZ, but she doesn't have it, so she's going back on the hook.
Claudette does not have DS, and I mean, that could have been a fatal mistake, the missing that shockwave on the unhook, but there really just isn't anything in this part of the map. It's a TL wall into a Harvester into a cow tree, which is honestly too far away to make. Another missed shockwave there onto iPiC, and he is going to be going back to the hook to try to tunnel this Claudette, surely.
Yeah, but that the stop to kick the gen, the chase being taken that far away, Claudette has free reign to just book it to any other place than here. The XZ knows, okay, everything I care about is on this side of the map, so if Claudette just runs across the other side, there's no point in committing to her. You commit to her there, sure, you get the kill, but they pop all the gens, and you will not be able to chase them fast enough to get your win con. So he has to he has to bank on getting a survivor down on his side of the map, which looks like he's gonna try for iPiC, but Shockwave not quite reaching the Nia. So now she can run to that same side of the map. As long as survivors can get enough distance to get here, get away from the gens, you know, Kuba has to really struggle to decide, am I letting them work on these gens for free, or do I rather just have this down, as that's the last gen popping, and he still needs 4 more hook stages or a fresh hook, and 3 more.
Yep, good patience there from Kuba getting that down onto iPiC, and I think iPiC is actually the last stack of no way out. If he is able to get this hook before it pops, and no. So only 3 stacks of no way out. iPiC is going to go in the basement, as Cole just informed me, and that's honestly a good play coming in from Kuba, but will this... Will a death onto iPiC win the game for Kuba?
Yeah, it would be, because that's, that should
4
be...
fresh.
It's the 4 fresh, right, yeah, so it's 4 fresh and 7 stages, so if Nia dies in basement, it's 7 stages as well, but he got 4 fresh. So they have to save Nia if they want to win the game. And they have to save Nia, yeah, I mean, they can save her at second stage, but now Kuba can just sit here with his power, and, you know, just like you trade 1 for 1, you can trade Claudette here because she's only worth one more stage.
This is going to get very interesting very quickly, because we have a killer that can hit through as many survivors as he wants.
Yeah, I think they can only trade Claudette here and still win. So yeah, it's gonna be Claudette for one trade. So if Claudette dies down here, but he can go for Renato. He kinda has to. Because if you kill Claudette down there, it's not a win.
He's gonna ignore the survivors that were in the basement for a little bit. Claudette body blocks the door. Renato's already gone. He has to hit a shockwave onto Nia here to secure this because he can't just go back for Claudette. And the ace is doing an amazing job body blocking, even with the double range. I mean, Survivors played that extremely well. iPiC, Miu, Crystal, all gonna get out, and it's just gonna be Merrick here left, crawling for the hatch. Not gonna get it, but that was a pretty amazing basement heist there from Kolobki.
Unlucky, not giving us a chop. Yeah, that was exactly what Survivors needed to happen. Any other outcome, and they would have lost the game. But they recognized what their win con was. They played around it. They executed it, and maybe a little bit of a mistake from Kuba not committing to the Renato act result with that window. I think that was probably the only thing he could have done to salvage that outcome. But you know, that's a pretty good result from Kolobki going forward. So we'll have to see what we're going to get from this Dredge set coming up. So don't go anywhere.
Welcome to Midwich, DBDLeague viewers, and here we have Smoker playing the Dredge for Shock, and this is a very interesting build we have here, Cole. Jolt as the only slowdown. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think Jolt is usually a pretty terrible perk, but it's okay on Midwich because it's so close quarters. You can get it to proc, you know, pretty reliably without Survivors being able to play around it. But I really feel like you should be going for Pain Res or Pop here. If you can get away with not bringing Corrupt if you want on Dredge, you really can, you know. And I feel like you're gonna want more regression than just this. But we'll have to see, you know, what Smoker here is cooking as he's gonna take advantage of the map mobility that Dredge has, and he finds two people immediately. And is Ada in a position where she has the window? No, I don't think she does. It's just this pallet. So yeah, this is a rough pallet to play around. She gets the stun. That's gonna be enough to get distance if she wants it, but she's content to just play this pallet.
Yeah, and if you're Crystal here, your plan here is to make it to one of those God pallets on Midwich. She is gonna take a hit at this kind of bad filler pallet, but yeah, you see right here, she runs directly to the God pallet, drops it.
And now she has to be attentive to, okay, well the Dredge can teleport. Am I, you know, not just going to book it away from that pallet and get cut off by him? But he decides to just take chase someone else entirely, finds Ace in the courtyard, gets that sloppy hit coming in, and staple of what we're seeing. Bring Sloppy Butcher, bring Malthinker Skull, get the Survivors injured, get your Nightfall up constantly, and pick them off. We see so often Dredge players opting to go for, you know, two or three man slugs into the mid and late game and you know, snowball off of that. Even if the early game is rough, you know, if you don't sacrifice too many gens and you get all these tags coming in, you can snowball super hard. It's very difficult for Survivors to play around that.
And that was some very clean pallet play from Merrick there, winning out the mind game on the filler. He is going to go down on the next filler though, but that was crucial time bought there, the way that he was able to avoid getting hit at that last pallet.
And avoiding Jolt proccing technically, because it's a grab instead of a down, but yeah, with Smoker interrupting a couple Survivors on gens and the reset having to come in on Ada, that's, you know, that's a 24-second reset on her, so there is enough gen progress for one gen to pop in the distance, and probably this courtyard gen is the only other one that has too much progress. But now with Nightfall coming in, the Survivors are gonna, you know, be really pressed. Oh, we do have good progress in that one too! This is actually pretty solid gen pressure from the Survivors, and if they can outlast this Nightfall without giving too much in way of, you know, hits and downs, as the not going for the 1-for-1, so probably gonna take the hit and just get out of there. But we'll see how much pressure on health states that Smoker can get while Nightfall's active.
Yeah, with a build that honestly looks like he might be playing for Nightfall specifically, it's going to be interesting to see what he chooses to do here with a lot of gens being progressed all around him and only Jolt for slowdown. We'll have to see if those Survivors are actually able to call out Jolt and maybe force grabs. Merrick is going to go to second here pretty quickly, as Smoker is going to take the teleport away. Another gen pops near the stairwell, and Merrick does go to second. Another chase here starts onto iPiC.
Honestly, this is a pretty good position for the Survivors. You know, they managed to outlast that first Nightfall. They don't have any more Survivors injured. They don't have anyone downed. They get a gen pop for it. You know, so when that Nightfall ends, or it is ended now, yeah, there's not a whole lot of pressure onto Dredge, and so he's kind of at the position where he was at the start of the game, and he's kind of has an uphill battle from this point.
Yeah, if he's not able to get this like kill onto Merrick in short order, he's going to be in a really dangerous position. And another hit take comes in for the ace. Merrick is going to continue his run over towards the library area. And how well will he be able to play this filler? We see this filler has gone about 50-50 before. He runs through the remnant, but he doesn't drop the pallet on the right side and is going to go down. That's going to be the death onto Merrick. With 3 gens remaining, we'll see if the survivors can get another one done before this hook comes in. But Smoker, he is in a decent spot now with Nightfall coming back very soon.
And this is the part where positioning is super crucial, because now with 1 survivor out of the game, iPiC and Mew have to be very careful to not get picked off here. Because if you go from 1 survivor being dead to, and then also an injured survivor and also a hooked survivor, you are in a very rough position. But it's not easy for the survivors to try and get some resets secured here. They kind of need Ada to be, you know, around to heal them, but it looks like they're just committing for gens and praying that they have enough resources left to delay chases, as the chase is going to be on to Ada instead. But he has 2 people here. Renato is maybe not going to be able to make it to anything good depending on what he gets in this classroom, and he does have this pallet, but playing this pallet in Nightfall is rough. If he just takes his distance, Smoker's going to kick the pallet as Renato runs away, and then probably Smoker's going to leave, yeah. Taking advantage of these fast teleports, goes back to Gen where he knows the Ada is pressuring it, and Ada's going to take the tag, and we'll have to see if she's able to get away from this Gen, get away from the Jolt. The Jolt going onto that Gen and then a Pain Res would be very devastating as she runs back into it.
She has to run back into the library because of the teleport ahead to the locker. And this is going to be dire straits for the survivors. Another grab is going to deny Jolt, but like, Night has fallen, all survivors are injured, and somebody is dead or somebody has already died. We've got 2 injured survivors, 1 hooked. Surely they have to be resetting, and what do we know that the Dredge is really good at doing on Midwich? Interrupting resets.
Yeah, and this game is on a knife's edge now. Survivors they have 2 gens reasonably highly progressed, but, you know, the injuries are going to make it super difficult to play runs, and the unhook comes on as soon as Smoker leaves, so we are getting resets, but Adam has to make something. I don't think he makes that.
No, he definitely makes that, and I mean, this is going to be tough. This is a pretty good filler palette with the really strong window connecting. So he's going to set the remnant near the window.
I don't think he chases. I think you go back for Ada, honestly. You know there's 2 injured survivors where that unhook went off. But
really good mind game there from iPiC, winning that remnant, like, mind game at the tile, honestly. It forces the Dredge to break the door and leave him.
He's like, nah, I'm out.
That was incredibly clean chase from iPiC.
That was, yeah, and that was maybe a little bit too much of a commit. Like, he is going to be able to interrupt this reset, but not before the Gen comes off. So we'll see if giving that Gen is going to punish him. But, you know, Renato is now zoned to this corner of the map. There's not a whole lot you can do here aside from getting a stun. But the down's going to come in. There's going to be a hook onto Renato, and that should be a Pain Resonance on him.
Pain resonance? There's no Pain Resonance in this game, Cole.
Okay, well, there should be. There should be. You'd be getting more value over Jolt. I'm just saying.
And I mean, No Way Out in a set where survivors have been getting 4K today is a little bit interesting in my opinion as well.
It's interesting. I mean, we do see Noed from time to time. I'm curious about the decision to bring that over Noed on an M1 killer. But I guess we'll have to see, as it looks like there is a reasonable chance this game will go to endgame, but I think there should be a 4K1, unless the survivors are somehow able to get, the reset they need. But with everyone being injured, with Nightfalls coming in so often, it's going to be really difficult for survivors to try and pop an extra gen here.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the Nightfall meter. It just ended like 15 seconds ago, and it's already back to half. That's the power of Malfunger's skull. I think to play devil's advocate for Smoker here on the No Way Out choice, this is a somewhat volatile matchup. You do see Dredges getting outed sometimes. You do see some 4K1s, 4K2s, even 4K3 sometimes. It's really up to how big of a mistake the survivors make. And so maybe he's thinking, you know what? If they play really well, I want to give my team the best possible result in this first game. Rather than, go maybe if he's playing the second game and he knows he has a tougher result to make, he would index harder into earlier mid-game. Oh, he goes into the basement by mistake. I know we've all done that before while playing Dredge. But yeah, he also could just be really confident in his survivor team's play against Dredge.
Yeah, and this is the stage of the game where it just gets spooky. You got 3 people injured. One of your teammates is already dead. You can't see anything. You know you're 1 hit away from being dead, just like that. iPiC goes down. And, you know, hey, maybe Jolt hit something here. He's in the middle of the map. But the hook's gonna come in, and the other survivors have to outlast Nightfall. This is the stage of the game where it's so hard to play around. You don't get the time to reset, and it feels like the Dredge will make more progress towards killing all of you than you can make towards getting your objective done. It's just too fast.
And this music room palette is just instant death against Dredge, as we see. Mew went for the save on iPiC, but these survivors' lives are just kind of taking away. Like, nobody's able to get a reset off. That's going to be the death onto Crystal. And he immediately finds another survivor with the teleport. Both survivors, actually. He knows where they are.
Yeah, and we see Ada was the survivor who had the what little healing perks are allowed against Dredge. So Ada's death is going to really solidify that they're not going to be able to get those resets. And, you know, playing at tier 5 is, dare I say, really using the dredges of the perk pool.
Okay, that was a pretty good one, honestly.
We do see this is essentially kind of a TL wall, so iPic's gonna run that. He is doing a good job of winning these mind games against the Dredge's Remnant in this chase here. So good on him, and maybe that will be enough for Mew to be able to pop the last gen in the distance, but I think they will have given up on getting out this game.
Yep, honestly, great individual chase from iPiC there once again. Those 1v1s really paying off. And Mew is going to get found here, and that's going to be a 4K1 for Smoker.
Maybe. Did you see what I see? iPiC has flip-flop tenacity, and he's slugged.
iPiC does have flip-flop tenacity, so if Smoker goes and picks iPiC up before looking for Hatch, which I think he's almost certainly going to do, hopefully iPiC is going to be hoping to get picked up like after Mew has already let go on the hook. This could get really interesting really quickly.
He's even getting value out of the fact that tenacity, people don't remember this, but I'm pretty sure it was buffed not that long ago, so that when you have tenacity, you're not very loud on the ground. It's not just
he just saw him right there and left the blocker.
So like, iPiC is actually kind of able to just stealth around the map as a slug.
He absolutely should have seen iPiC there with that teleport, but just left the locker too quickly.
You know, I will say that is one of the really neat things about having like so many perk bans is you get to see just some wild perk choices come out and get value in the most bizarre circumstances. Oh, we do hear that. We do the hatch. Oh, iPiC crawled away from it. It's on that staircase. Unfortunate that he wasn't going where he needed to go.
Oh, but he does have flip-flop though. Is he gonna get off?
Wait, I wonder why they didn't just kick the hatch. Because there's no adrenaline.
Oh, he was too close to the hook. Unlucky.
Yeah, as we know, if you've ever decided to go play really toxic, bring a midwich map, bring some putrid oaks. If you have tenacity flip flop or something like that, you make sure that you die in like the back wall of a classroom because that's where you can't get hooked. And unfortunately, iPiC not quite able to make it to one of those places, and that is going to be a 4K1 for this first Dredge set. And we'll see if the in the reverse side of it, we'll get a better result. Hold on to your hats, blindless enthusiasts. We have more Dredge coming up. We do have, I cannot pronounce this name, I'm sorry, on the Dredge, looking for survivors in Midwich Elementary School. Gonna break some doors, don't want to play around these god windows too much. Gonna teleport to see if he can find someone on this gen here, and we are seeing Pain Resonance and Pop coming in for my sanity. No more Jolt shenanigans, as these lockers are going to give him the map mobility that he needs, but we're not finding any survivors on these first 3 teleports.
Yep, good on the survivors not just getting found quite yet, and I think it would be safe to call this killer Jatep. That's my guess. But he is going to go ahead and find Smoker here, running into the bottom of the library. Actually does not opt to go into the library, surely pathing towards one of the 2 god pellets by the stairs here, as he opts to play this filler first against the Remnant. Yeah,
we do have the hit coming in, cutting him off before he makes the window, and Is he going to continue chasing? This is the other breakable wall. So now both breakable walls by the Godwin has been broken, but that will give Felix the time that he needs. And there's Survivor off the distance here, but he is going to make a God pallet, so not going to split off for that. He's going to stay on Felix's trail as Felix runs to another classroom, but the Dredge might be able to cut him off, but I believe it should be the music room classroom, and this pallet, famously terrible, but he does get the stun, and unfortunately for Felix, he's stunned from the other side, so he's not going to be able to get distance anywhere else, as now the Remnant's going to cut him off, and Felix is going to go down in the music room.
Yeah, suboptimal pathing, honestly, coming in. Felix clearly had an opportunity to drop the Infirmary God Pallet, but instead pathed upstairs and got stuck in the music room. Which is, like I said in the last set, instant death against the Dredge.
Yeah, very unfortunate. And with the lockers being broken here, the Dredge will have a quick trip back to that hook if he should decide to do that. And we have not seen a gen pop in the distance for that first chase, which is very fortunate. And especially with the pain resin pop coming in, a lot of the progress survivors could have made during this first chase is just going to be erased, as now the killer can see if he can find someone else. This is a much better position to be in than what we were seeing in the last game. You know, these perks, these regression perks giving more value than we were going to see out of Jolt and No Way Out.
Yep, breaks out of that locker with Hattie's calendar as his second add-on. Nightfall has begun, and he is going to find the reset onto Felix here. At this filler loop, Adam takes a critical hit there. That was very important for those survivors. He is going to stay on Felix here, but that was a really great play from the Adam that has not gone unnoticed.
And as a Dredge enthusiast, I'm curious your take on these add-on choices. Because we usually do see Malthinker Skull, but sometimes we'll see this Hattie's calendar for the locker, but sometimes we'll see Broken Doll instead for the 20 seconds of extra Nightfall. Which do you think is, you know, the play here?
They're both really good, and they both do completely different things. I would honestly say that they're equally worth it. Hattie's calendar, like, makes locks almost moot, as second hook is going to come in onto Felix. He's going to get another pop on this gen. Only one gen has popped so far. This combo of sloppy, pain res, and pop is exactly what Jotep needs to actually get this 4k2 that he needs for Kolobki to get this one.
Oh, absolutely. He needs to be able to prevent him from getting anything done in this game, and so far it's going the way he wants it to. We could easily see a tunnel out onto Smoker relatively quickly here as the mind game wins onto Seth. Pallets drop, but Seth will be able to make it into this hall, I believe. Yes, but these pallets, we see a lot of gameplay around this particular pallet, and it's unfortunately not a gameplay pattern that seems to go in the Survivor's favor very often, but we're going to play this pallet too, and it's all a 50-50 mind game, and Jake is winning them so far.
Yeah, and that strong window over there no longer has the entity blockers on it, so he could have gone back towards that, but he is going to go down at this filler pallet here. It's going to be a down onto Seth, fresh hook, possible pain resonance, and Nightfall is about 2/3 complete right now. So Jotep is going to be collecting this fresh hook and then trying to look for that death onto Smoker. Not a pain resonance there onto Seth.
Unfortunate on that one, but yeah, he has two good targets, because obviously the death on the Smoker would be ideal, but getting it down and then the pain res and the pop onto Kuba would be equally pretty good for keeping the pressure up, because one of the things that we see with these Dredge sets is it doesn't necessarily kill the survivors that quickly, but you get into this slow grinding gameplay where you're not getting enough progress on the generators, and the Dredge is just slowly whittling away at your hook states.
Yeah, and he's going to find GenBlight here near the Infirmary God Pallet. He's actually not going to drop that. It's going to go through the locker. GenBlight doubles back, responds to the locker teleport, and he is going to make something here.
Yeah, and because we're in chase with Ace right here, the Dredge knows whoever is going to go for this unhook is a good target. It has to be either the Felix, as we find here, or it could have been an injured survivor. So now this is very dangerously close to getting a tunnel out on the Felix at 3 gens, with two other survivors also injured.
Yeah, and you can tell that the Dredge wasn't fully committing to that ace with everything he had, because he really, really just wants Felix. And Felix is going to go down with the God Pallet. Oh no, that's disaster for the survivors. Swings through this other pallet, misses it, and he's gonna go for more. He's gonna try to get this down onto Seth as well at this pallet, but honestly, I wouldn't do this. Like, this pallet is a little bit stronger for survivors than it is for killer, and it's gonna take a lot of time. He is gonna instantly pick up Will there be a save?
Yeah, I think that's what he was worried about. Because when he came out of the locker in Nightfall, he got the killer instinct on 2 other survivors in that room. So I think he just wanted to chase them off so that they didn't go for the pallet save as Felix died on that god pallet. But now with the death coming on to Felix and 2 injured survivors, and they still have to pop, you know, 2 more generators to get a tie at least. This is going to be really rough. We're kind of in that same position we saw before where the survivors are just not going to be able to reset most likely, but in this scenario, this Dredge, as he's whittling away at their hook states, is going to have pain resonance coming in on maybe 1 or 2 more survivors, and he's going to have a pop on every hook. This is going to be a much harder war of attrition to play out here than what we had in the last game.
Yeah, Jotep is looking to be in a very strong position here. Nightfall is about to begin again. They did get the reset onto Kuba. Seth is still injured. This next Nightfall is going to be critical. This is going to be extremely difficult for these survivors to finish the gens as Kuba gets found in Nightfall.
Yeah, and the chase going to Adam. He does have a strong window here, but the Dredge teleports to the locker next to him. And this is a little bit of a worse direction for Adam to chase, because if he goes into this other classroom, there's nothing here for him. He does take the tag anyway, and we're going to see if the Dredge will continue on to Adam. He is going to, and Adam can make the courtyard here, but does he have anything worth playing besides this little house behind the clock tower? And we'll see 1 pallet going down, the second pallet can go down, both pallets go down, Adam has made himself a house. And now with 1 pallet being broken, the remnant play here is honestly a pretty interesting mind game to try and pull off as Adam gets grabbed. Well, yep. That's going to be a hook onto him. Very likely a pain resonance and a pop coming in. We did see that Ace and Jake got the reset off in the distance, so
well, he must not have a pain res because he went past this hook and then eventually went back to it.
Yeah, well, the hooks on this map can be super screwy. But fortunately for the teammates here, they have quite literally stemmed the bleeding for now. And ideally, Jake wants to not be found, but he is found. So now we have, you know, more pallet gameplay as the hit comes in before the stun. Very unfortunate. That's going to be another 24-second reset he's going to have to do later if he's able to get away. But with the pallets being broken, there's not that many resources left, and Jake has to try and make it back to this pallet. But I don't think he doesn't make that unless he wins the mind game on the fake out. But this is the only resource that Jake has in this area of the map, so the down's going to go on to him. We can see if this will be a pain resonance, and the survivors are focusing on getting the resets when they can. So that gives them some hope against this, but they are running out of hook states to give before, you know, this match is over.
Yeah, and I mean, the Dredge is outputting so much pressure here. He's breaking the good pallets when he needs to. I don't think he's lost a single remnant mind game yet, notably.
Yeah, I think the mind game that he lost was just swinging at a pallet that the Jake had to greed. So, you know, we well played on the Dredge mechanics here, as we're going to see more locker teleports coming in. The unhook comes in onto the Jake as Nightfall is just around the corner.
And that's going to be another pop goes the Weasel onto a gen with good progress. He's going to start a chase here onto GenBlight. See if he can injure him, get Nightfall started. No, he's actually going to leave with the teleport and look for the reset onto Seth.
That seems like a good idea, honestly. We do find the Atom here, and, you know, we are getting to a point in the game where most of these pallets that you can play have been at least dropped, if not broken, and that makes these chases a little bit more difficult for survivors to try and make them last longer. But Adam does wisely decide to just leave the room. He does have a god pallet down here in this bathroom as the Dredge decides to just teleport downstairs instead of falling behind him. This way, if Adam drops the pallet, he is zoned into this corner as opposed to getting the pallet drop from the other side. So this should be a hit onto Adam. He just doesn't have anywhere else he can go. Hit does come in. Jake has not been reset, so either Ace is resetting the Jake or he's working on a gen. And if Ace gets a tag here, which he very likely will, we're going to be in a really dire situation for the survivors. Yeah.
Yep. Nice hit there from the Dredge. Now, all survivors injured during Nightfall. Is Jake working on a gen, though?
He presumably has to be. Because if he's not going to get reset by the Ace, as it appears he was nowhere in the area, then he was either doing a generator or basically doing nothing. So presumably he has been doing a generator this whole time, so we might be seeing a gen pop in the distance.
Yep, and this is going to be another fresh hook. It's not a pain resonance. And yeah, it looks like Jake is going to be really close to popping this generator here, and actually the Dredge is going to use his pop on a different gen. So survivors are going to get down to 2 gens remaining, but that's not what they need. They need to get all of the gen, or they need to get down to at least 4K1.
Yeah, well, they can go for if they get one more gen done, they can also possibly play for a hatch game, because this is a map where you can't force the hatch spawn with an offering. So they could possibly go for a hatch play with the last survivor, as Adam kind of runs directly into the Dredge, establishing dominance, decisive tackle.
Interesting play there from Kuba. I'm not really sure what was going on there. Nightfall was not active, and that's going to be another hook. Not a pain resonance this time on Adam either. And Nightfall is going to be starting very shortly as these survivors attempt to reset, and he's going to find the reset.
Yeah, and the thing we're having is, well, Sloppy Butcher makes that reset take 24 seconds. They have to be resetting each other. They don't have any tools to reset themselves, and they don't also have the option to 99 their heals and pop them at the same time. So as soon as you see one survivor get healed, they're in the same spot resetting. And with the Killer Instinct with Nightfall, this is
Zaltep is going to go for the kill here. He slugs Seth and goes to cut GenBlight off towards the reset. I don't even think he's going to make that hook. I think if he's able to end this chase, it's going to be a 4K2. Oh, he teleports to the wrong locker. Oh no, that's going to give GenBlight some distance. But will he be able to make it to that hook before going down? I don't think so.
Nah, I mean, there's nothing he can do here other than, pray that the Dredge loses his ability to, move his hands and go for the bleed out onto Seth. But residual manifest in the distance, inflicting the Dredge with blindness. You can't search the chest for the flashlight for that perk, but you can actually, inflict blindness on the killer, as we see, which on an indoor map like this is actually kind of useful, because the killer is also dependent on seeing the generator auras just like you, and if he's unable to do that, that can make his navigation a little bit difficult. But the final down is going to come in onto GenBlight, and so now with the survivors only completing 3 generators, even if there is a hatch play coming in from Seth, if he does manage to crawl on top of that hatch and take it, it is still not enough for a win. So this will be the win con secured here.
Yep, really nice play here from the Dredge, and honestly, I could have predicted this from the just from the build. Like, pop pain res. If you dominate your chases the way that Zaltep did here for Kolobki, pop pain res is what is going to get you that 4K2 or 4K3 result. So really good choices on the perks there. He played this extremely well, and I do believe that's going to be Kolobki taking a 2-0.
Yeah, and I am here for any amount of cooking that we can see in these games, and I think Dredge is one of those sets where we do see a little bit more of that. It's a little bit less solved, and so even with the win coming in, I do feel like we got to see some really cool things in the previous game.